Dear students, today we are going to see the second part of the revision class in first unit. There are three topics we are going to see now. The first topic is research question or problem. Research problem or question is called as choice of hypothesis that state the objective of our research. So what purpose we are going to do a research, that is to be there in the research questions, or that is called as research problem. So these research questions can be identified through so many sources. You can ask experts, you can become a specialist, or you can refer a literature review, or the area which are dry or which are unsolved, that area you can take as a research question or research problem. In order to develop any new ideas or concepts, we can go for develop, or that area we can take as a considered as a research problem, or you can keep a diary. Whatever ideas, whichever comes in your mind, you can note it down. It will give some clarity to make a research areas or problems. Seventh point is any gap between expected and that is desired result as well as actual result. That gap occurs between these two extremes. You can take it as a problem. So the problem maybe comes out from any part of the organization or any department of the organization. So these are different sources of identifying problems. So as a researcher, he or she can select problem based on these constraints. One is their interest. If you are interested in HR, you can take problem related to human resource field. If any person like to do research in finance, they will take a topic or a problem in finance areas. That is topic of significance. So any areas which are considered as important to give a solution to the current situation, you can take that area you can select that area as a research problem. Novelty of ideas, researchers resources, availability of resources, that is resources with the researcher, it also helps them to take a research problem. Availability of data, because without any data we can't we can't move our research work. So data is also required. Availability of data also decide the area of problem area of our study. Benefit of the research, if your research outcome give benefit to benefit to others, that type of research problem or area you have to choose. And I fail to give explanation for third point, novelty of idea. If you find a new way for solving any problems or giving any solutions, that area you can select as a research problem. And seventh one is feasibility of the study. That is availability of availability of resources, uh, availability of data, availability of time. It also help researcher to select their research problem. Next, we are going to see steps in formulating research problem. These are 6 steps every research need to follow. Develop a title. Second, after developing a title, after the title was developed by the researcher, they go for develop a model for putting that title into practice. After that, they define objectives. What are datas are available? What are constraints you are going to meet for conducting this research? What constraints you can modify or change? These are things you can identify through develop or define objectives. Fourth step is you have to make a scope for your study. That is areas, geographical limit, size of the samples, that things you have to decide. After the fourth stage, fifth stage is you can go for develop based on this up to this fourth level. We can get some idea about our research study. Based on that idea, we can develop a hypothesis that we know, that is assumption. We can get some assumption about how to forward or how to carry our research work. After that, we have to develop a conceptual definition for all concepts. That is, whatever informations, whatever ideas you are having, that you have to define in that place. So these are steps we have to follow for how to tell. Develop or formulate any research problems. The second topic which we are going to see now is research objectives. So research objective is nothing, purpose of the research. What purpose we are doing this research? Some researcher can do for research for giving. All research are performed to give solution to the problem, but the problem are different. A problem may be related to financial area, a problem may be related to HR field, or problem may be related to marketing field, customer field, competitor field. So problem is different. So in order to define the purpose of the study, what purpose the research is carried out by the researcher is to be stated in the research objectives. So the research objectives are to be categorized into two, that you know already, main objectives and sub-objectives. So overall character of the research activity is called as main objectives. So based upon the main objective, a researcher will split that main objectives into different headings or different points is called as secondary objectives. Next, hypothesis that we know is a tentative statement with this assumption we carry our research work. So that assumption is called as a hypothesis. So hypotheses are tentative assumption that we are going to prove or disprove at the end of all research process. See, the hypotheses are tentative explanation by the researcher of what researcher considered the outcome of the investigation will be. So what will be the outcome of the research that you have to find earlier before conduction of the study. After that, you have to move the study. After study is complete, you have to verify your assumption is true or false. The hypotheses are different types: crude hypothesis, refined hypothesis, research hypothesis, null hypothesis, alternate hypothesis, working hypothesis, statistical hypothesis. These are different types that we already know. The hypothesis can be formulated through different ways that we are going to see now. It can be formulated through see here the source of hypothesis. It can be comes out from the own induction of the resources. The own induction of the researcher. If based upon the researcher wish and their experience, they can develop the hypothesis by their own way. Second one, it can comes out from other studies by referring so many articles, papers, annual reports. A researcher can comes out with some assumption for his study. It can also develop through some seabed of theories. With studying some theories, we can get idea about our research problem, as well as willingness, happiness. Personal happiness is nothing. Willingness of the researcher. A researcher is interest with some area. That area's knowledge a researcher have already with that area. It help him to get into assumption about his studies. So the hypothesis testing procedures is there are two steps we are following in hypothesis testing. First step is we have to formulate a null hypothesis. It is called as H naught. It is mostly it is in negative form, negative statement or negative form. After developing this statement, a researcher go to verify that statement is true or false by his research process or by using mathematical calculation among the collected data. He can prove or disprove his null hypothesis. So null hypothesis or negative statement. That statement the researcher need to formulate first before going to or during the time of research. First researcher need to develop a null hypothesis. So based on the research outcome, based upon the research analysis, a researcher can come to the stage of whether they go to accept the null hypothesis or reject the null hypothesis. Based on the significance value of his analysis outcomes, they go to accept and reject null hypothesis. If they reject null hypothesis, they go for develop an alternate hypothesis. So this is the process of testing hypothesis. The hypothesis need to have the following character. It need to have the following characters. It should be simple, specific and clear one, because if it is not clear, it is difficult to understand by all peoples. So it should be clear one, simple one and a specific one. It can be verifiable. After null hypothesis is fixed, a researcher can verify it is acceptable or not acceptable. So hypothesis need to be verifiable one. So it can be developed through existing body of knowledge, not based on purely assumption. It can be developed through base work and theory as well as literatures. So it can be operationalized. As I said already, your hypothesis should be verified and it should be testable. It can be tested by the researcher. So these are fourth and fifth point contents. So with this few information, I conclude today's session. So please go through it. Any doubts in any part you can ask. Thank you.